Good evening, everyone. Today we have Yashodai, a POXO consultant, and today she's going to share her thoughts about how we should take care of our children as parents and as teachers for those children under our care. Good evening, Yashodai. Nice to have you on my channel again.
Yes, good evening, Rendell, and I'm happy that all those who are watching this video has taken their time to sit through this video and watch this video on a very special day. Probably this day they could have done anything else, but then they are in our show just to know how they can help their kids at home or at school. So definitely there is a lot of wonderful input that I'll be sharing in these terms so that everybody can be aware and beware.
Great. Okay, Yashodai. First, let's start by explaining what is the term POXO.
Yes. So POXO stands for Prevention of Child Sexual Offense. Okay. So now we have lots of kids in our country, and in fact, majority of kids in our country they are not secure. More than secure, I would say, parents are not feeling secure to send our kids outside. Okay, so even if we are staying in an apartment, we cannot send our kids to play in the ground because of the fear that something might happen to them or somebody might just come and kidnap them. So we have to keep them under our supervision at all that time, so that we feel safe, that our kids are also safe with us. This is something that has disturbed the country a lot in recent times, and law has thought that okay, there should be some strict norms, okay, that can be regulated in terms of child safety. And even before Indian government can think about this, in 2012 we had UN Constitution, which fought for child's right in 1992 itself, and India has signed up a contract with UN in the year 1992 for abiding with child safety rules. But Indian law, as such, it came in 2012, and under this law, anybody who thinks of harming kids, they get punished.
Okay. Okay, when we say that it's the law, I mean, has the Indian government enforced this law?
Yes, Indian government has enforced this law, and when you take up schools, CBSE schools are strictly following this law, because it is mandatory for all the CBSE schools to form the POXO committee, to have a child welfare officer dedicated for their school. And I see many CBSE schools are approaching me for forming the uh, sorry, not POSH, it is the POXO committee in their school. And yes, CBSE school is following this very strictly. And if they're not following this POXO rule, at least they are having this good touch and bad touch awareness that is being spread to their students. And I'm sure all the schools are very, very alert, and they want their students to be safe, because even if one issue happens in their school, definitely it gives a great I mean, it harms their reputation to a great level that all the parents are afraid of sending their kids to the school, right? So this is one impact which no school wants to have on their brand name. So that is the reason schools are keeping everything, every procedure under guidelines, and they are following all the procedures, and they are having strict measures to ensure that yes, our premise is a safe premise for students to come in. But there are few schools which are yet to implement this. That is where I mean trainers like us come into picture.
Okay, as a parent, when I go to a school, how do I know that they are following the POXO regulation? I mean, a school is a school, right? It's just a building with the
Yes,
teachers and
yes,
people there. So how would I, as
definitely.
a parent, go and know that they are following regulation?
Yes. So few of the mandatory things as part of POXO is every school must form a guideline, okay, which will say that how a student should behave, how a teacher should behave in respect to kids, and how parents should take care of the safety at their home. So all these things in a form of guidelines is available with all the schools. I mean, whichever school follows this POXO law, and whichever school has this child welfare committee in place, they definitely have these guidelines with them. And as a parent, you can openly ask to that school if they have this committee or not. And it is the responsibility of school to display in their website that yes, they have this committee as well to protect the kids in their premises. And one more thing, all the schools must have CCTV camera. That is one of the measures to stop all these issues. And it's a kind of alert and check that if you do something wrong in our premise, definitely you'll be caught. So these are two things which parents can immediately look after. I mean, they can just directly ask the school. If it is not displayed in the website, they can ask the school when they are going to admit their kid into that school. They can just ask the school if they have CWO, that is Child Welfare Officer in their school. So that will clearly tell if they are following POXO rules.
Great. I mean, this is really great information, Yashoda. I understand that these are more deterrents, honestly, to avoid people trying to prey on kids. But as parents, what do you think we should teach our kids? I mean, at a very young age where they don't understand a lot, how could I educate my child to be careful?
Yes. So based on the age of kid, okay, parent can talk to kids about good touch and bad touch in different levels. For instance, my own kid, she's just 3.5 years old, but her father has educated her from her age of 2.5 itself about good touch and bad touch. So what we told her about good touch and bad touch is these are your private paths. You're not supposed to allow somebody to touch those things, or even you should not touch the private parts of others. Okay. And if somebody tries to do it, you have to shout loudly and you have to strictly come away from that place. These are few things that we have told our daughter, because when a kid can understand rhymes, when kid can understand ABCD, when a 2.5 years old kid can understand 1 2 3, then definitely she can understand this basic detail about good touch and bad touch that we can very well tell them. And
That is,
once the kid,
sorry, please go. Please go.
yeah, so once the kid grows up, I mean, once they are into their second or third standard, we can tell them how should they react to people who are trying to misbehave or who are trying to touch their private parts. Okay, there is something called as know, run, and tell. That is, if somebody says that they want to touch them, or if somebody asks some favor, okay, it can be in any form, so strictly the child should tell no. When somebody is approaching to do some mis uh, I mean misbehaving, child should upfront, child should say no, child should run from that place. Okay, child should run from this place, and first thing they should tell this to their parents or tell this to whomever is nearby to them. Okay? That is this no, run and tell policy. This can be informed to a third standard student. And once they grow up, once they are in their fifth standard and above, they can be told about the child helpline as well. That is 1098. So if they are not able to reach any confident person immediately, then they can make a call to this number and tell that somebody is trying to harm them and they want to be saved. Okay, this can be educated because when they are in their fifth standard, they are definitely close to 10 plus 12 years, right? Around 12 years. So at that age, definitely they can memorize the phone numbers and they know how to talk to people. So that is the age when we can tell them about this child helpline aspect. And as they grow to the higher standards, we can tell them what is the impact that a student will have who is abused. Okay, because that is the age when they can save other kids as well, not only themselves, but then they can observe what is happening in their surrounding. They can understand the feeling of their fellow friends, and if something has happened to them, so at that stage they can be a help to them as well. So that is being taught to students who are from 8th standard and above, and specifically for 11th and 12th standard, we can talk to them about how they are like in a very crucial stage when they are teenagers, and they will be going through all sorts of emotions. So all the buddy love and everything that's booming in the school, that happens in this age, and it's very important to tell them how they should be in their limits, though they might be attracted towards opposite sex. And though I mean nowadays everything is available in internet. Every, I mean every single video is not every single video, but there are lots of videos that are teaching such things to kids. Okay, so there are possibilities that they might easily get into some relationship. So they should be told about our values, our culture, and I mean, kids can do it within themselves as well. It is not required that somebody from outside has to come and harm other person. So a boy can do it to a girl if he is having some aggressive feelings, or if he has faced some no to his proposal or something. Anything can happen at this age, right? This is a very crucial age. So these are various things that needs to be talked to students.
So you said some very valuable comments here, Yashodi. I think one part is self-awareness of our children. And I think it's also about the way we bring our children up. I think parents have a very crucial role to play in the way we instill ideals and models into our children. I think the first
Yes,
step is to have our children set right first, so that, yes, one, we teach them about people preying on them, but also teach
yes,
them on their own morals and standards that they maintain for themselves.
true,
That itself is
true.
a safeguard against predation, and also succumbing to, as you said, the adolescent age is a very impressionable age. And I think
Yes,
that's a very crucial part, that you have grown children. And even with both my boys are teenagers now, and past teenagers, they're past their 20s now. So when the teenage came in, and and my wife pretty much had a lot of thoughts about how we're going to have them. But we saw that whatever ideals and models we taught them when they were young, what is good and what is bad and what is things they should come and ask me. The very simple thing I told both my children is that if you cannot do something and come back and tell me, that should be a
yes,
warning sign to you, that you should call me and ask me, can I do this? Anything. I said, and I am
yes,
not going to stop you once you go past 18, because you're technically an adult. I will tell you the good and the bad, and then you make your own mistakes. But you cannot say that you did not know. So anything,
yes.
that's the rule we have set up in the house. And I think those are certain things that it's very crucial that we as parents just don't keep blaming everybody outside, or, everybody did this to my child and that. And first make sure we do our duty as parents too. You agree?
True. Very true, Grenville. I agree to your point very much. Anything which a kid cannot tell to their parents, okay, it should not be done. That is first thing that should be told to our kids straight away. There shouldn't be any secrets maintained with parents. Even that can be advantage to these perpetrators.
Correct.
So kids who are young age, okay, maybe below fifth standard, to them these perpetrators can easily blackmail them.
Correct.
Kind of, I know this secret of yours, okay. So if you don't want me to tell this to your parents, then you better listen to me. That is how a perpetrator can approach a kid. And one more way is, if you come along with me, I will give you lots of chocolates and ice creams or whatever you want. There's one more thing which perpetrators can easily use for their advantage when it's smaller kids, right?
Correct.
So definitely, as in the name of strict parenting, all of us would be like, no, I'll not give you chocolate. That's not good for your health. I mean, we don't say this fact, it's not good for health. We just say, no, you are not supposed to have chocolate. You're not supposed to have ice cream. But then we don't tell the logic behind it, why we are stopping them from having it. we must tell them that this will harm your teeth, or this will give you a bad throat, or the climate is not good. Maybe you can take it when it is summer, or during sunny times you can take ice creams, it's okay. So all these things we have to tell them, so that they're not addicted to this chocolate and ice cream and then fall prey to somebody who's out there.
You have a very valid point again. I think the things we had in the earlier generations that our parents did to us about being strict, I think the new generations are very different in the way they deal with adults and they deal with exception. So the same rule that I apply to my family is that I always tell them that if you need something, the first person you should ask is me. And if I say
Yes,
no, I make it a point to explain why I'm saying no. And we'd
yes,
rather have a discussion than have like an ultimatum saying no. And because that is what creates that, what you call, eagerness to find out why not. That why not
yes,
is the
yes,
root of 90% of the problem, because they go out finding why did my parents say no? There should be something that I should go and find out, which creates, I think,
yes.
a lot of problems with the eagerness to find out what is this all about. You agree? Because
This generation is very smart,
yeah,
and if we give them just a superstitious belief that we carry from the past, they'll definitely don't take those things. They'll ask us what, when, why, how, all these sort of questions, and only if we are able to answer all of them, they'll get satisfied. That is one thing we have to look up. Sure.
yeah, because I've had the same discussion with my mother as well. And she says that when you were this age, I did this and you're not able to do this. And I tell her, trust me, things have changed. The new generation is a totally different. These are like the same thing people said when you were growing up, that you are a different generation and you turned out well. I said at that time, the exposure out there was less. We never had the internet out there, which could provide everything at the click of a button. None of us had mobile phones. I mean, none of us had even television. I mean, there's so many things on television you see that we never even had access to television. You are allowed to see
We
television.
didn't have so
Tomorrow.
many channels. We didn't
Sorry.
have so many channels.
Yeah,
There was only
we
one
had Doordarshan.
Doordarshan.
That's it. Exactly.
Yes,
So those are the things that I can see. One way exposure is good. I mean, it's brought a lot of knowledge and makes our children smarter because they're exposed more. But unfortunately, with that comes these negative part of the ills that come along with exposure
yes.
too. I think that's where we as parents should play a very crucial part.
There should be a borderline for everything. So once we are able to draw this borderline very clearly, then definitely we can safeguard our kids.
Great. Okay, Ashwade, on that topic, see, one part we've talked about schools, yeah, when the children are out of our care and out of our sight, what they should do. There's so many cases that are in the newspapers and on the TV nowadays about harassment at home. They say 90% of the cases that happened are cases of close relatives, right? That is
True.
unfortunate and that's sad to hear, but that is the reality of the world today. That most of the harassment that happens to young children are with their own close relatives. So, what
Yes.
should parents do as a precaution from their side? Yes, one is educate the child about what they should do. But is there something as a parent can do to make sure that at least there is some sort of way they can avoid this happening?
Yes, Grenville. There is a term that we give to this. It's called as grooming. Okay. So what the close relatives or the neighbors do, okay, they start gaining the confidence of children slowly. First, they'll visit our home often. They'll gain the confidence of the parents. Then they'll be a familiar face to the kids. Okay. Then suddenly kids will start getting too much of gifts, or
Mhm,
too much of attention, love, and care from a particular person.
mhm,
So when that is happening, we can be cautious. Okay, there's something fishy. Okay, so I mean, if there is some occasion like birthday or some Diwali or some festival, so during that time kid is being given the gift, it's fine. But out of the blue moon, or somewhere this friend of yours or this neighbor of yours pops up taking a gift or giving something to the kid, then definitely he's trying to do something. I mean, I'm not saying all those who are like this they are trying to do, but then there can be a possibility that such people are the ones who are trying to misbehave with your kids. So you have to be very careful and you have to be very watchful of what is happening to your kid. Okay. And in fact, like people who are I mean, where both the parents are working and there's nobody to take care of the child is just left alone at the home with some babysitter or at the care of some neighbors. So even at those cases, what will happen? There are chances that your kid is being misused or your kid is being harmed. Okay, so I will suggest all the parents to have CCTV camera installed at their home. If they're not at their home, if they cannot directly supervise all the happenings at their home, then please have CCTV cameras installed in your home and in your apartment as well. Because with this, you can find out what is happening around your house. Okay, so this is very mandatory, Karmal. And one more thing, parents should form a trust circle. So kind of see, uh, if a father is very strict, mother should be bit lenient. Okay, so the child can come back to mother and say everything that is happening to them. Okay, if both the people are strict, child will not be free enough or comfortable enough to speak out. So at least one parent should be very friendly with the kid so that kid can tell any issue that they are facing. Not only harassment related, it can be any issue or any discomfort that the child is going through. Uh, child should be in a position to discuss it with the parent. And one more thing, they should form a trust circle. Kind of if father and mother they are not available immediately, then who else in the family should be reached out to? It can be a grandparent, okay, or it can be maybe sister-in-law or your sister-in-law or brother-in-law. It can be anybody of that sort, okay, whom you trust 100%, whom you know that they will never ever think of harming your kid. Okay, you should have those people as the trust circle of your child. So these are some measures that we can take as parents.
That makes a lot of sense, what you're saying, Yashwati. As you said, I mean, the important thing is to have supervision. And that is something that today with the electronic media, at least you have a way to overcome not being physically there all the time. Because it's almost
Yes,
impossible to physically supervise somebody 24/7 with the work we have and with our responsibilities at home as well. So that made a lot of
yes,
sense, as well as to create this trust circle around of people you can genuinely trust to be there in case you are not there in the presence of your children. That makes a lot of sense. But again, as for the law, back to the law that we were talking about. Now, how does the government enforce this law? I mean, do they have a separate cell for children's sexual harassment, or does it just come under the general sexual harassment law?
no, there is a separate court as well for child, okay, who will hear to all such cases. And there is a child welfare committee that works for the welfare of the children. And if they find some children who is affected by their own family, okay, uh, wherein the sole breadwinner of the family, okay, he himself is harming the kid and mother is not able to do anything. Okay, in
Okay.
those cases where child is not safe in their home, so this child welfare committee takes care of the kid. Okay, they get them out of the house and they send them to a shelter that is completely monitored by the government. So over there they are given shelter, food, shelter, accommodation, and they are given education up till a age where they can be self-sustainable. So this
Okay.
is what a government does for the kids who are not safe.
Okay. Great. I mean, I think that is a lot of information for parents like us who really would care about our children and the safety of our children, both as
Yes,
parents to educate our children not to harm others as well, the same time to also safeguard them from predators and from being harmed themselves. I think we play a dual role as parents to take care of both the sides, because we are the creators as well, because the people who are causing it also are misguided youths and misguided adults who also came from somebody, right? So I think we play a role of educating them on the importance of having morals, not to do things like this. as well as also not to make sure that they get harmed in the process of growing up. So you're really doing a great job, Yashoda. I think we should do more of these videos to educate people on these important facts. I mean, these things sometimes in India we feel we should not talk about these things, and they get put under
Yes,
wraps. To a certain extent, we self-harm our own children by not talking about this. I think we should talk more and
very true, very
get to
true.
be comfortable talking to our children about it, that we don't make it a topic that is hushed away, which would stop them from coming and talking to us. So thank you for your time, Yashoda. It was great talking to you. And we will, whoever is watching this video live, if you have any questions, you can ask it now, or you could leave it in the comments, and I will pass it on to Yashoda, and she would get back to you with the answers on any specific questions you have. So thank you, Yashoda. I know you have your family commitments, but thank you for sparing your time and coming on this channel to talk about this important topic. We will catch up
My
again
pleasure,
soon
Ken.
on this topic to talk about some other interesting facts about Foxco and also Posh as well.
And definitely, definitely, Grenville. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. In fact, this would be the second time I'm talking about this topic in the social media. Definitely, awareness needs to be spread amidst everybody. But don't wait for somebody to come and give you awareness about this topic. There is this website called as www.ncpcr.com. Just log into this website, okay, and if you have any complaints related to child sexual offense, you can raise all the complaints in this website, and you can also find all the relevant materials about POXO, okay, wherein it tells how a parent should behave, how a teacher should behave, and all those informations, they are readily available in this website. So it is a government run website. Go and make complete use of it.
Great. Thank you, Yashoda, for that information. And I'm sure the viewers of this video, the live viewers, as well as those watching the recording, would gain a lot of exposure and knowledge about this. I hope they apply the comments that you've given and the guidelines you've given to certain aspects which we have as duty as parents and as teachers as well. And I hope we make this world a better place for us and our children going forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye. Take care.